Hi, this is Nicole Rivera, and you're listening to the Stop Writing Alone podcast. Hey everyone, so 2022 is moving right along. We are here in February, and I've got a couple of announcements for what's coming up in the Stop Writing Alone universe in the next week or two. But before I get started with this week's episode, I wanted to remind you of two things. Well, remind you of one thing and tell you about another. Because if you haven't been on the YouTube channel, then you may not have heard about Audria Martin's Kickstarter page that went live in the last couple of weeks. So if you'll remember, I interviewed Audria a couple of weeks ago here. Well, to me, it's a couple of weeks ago, a couple of episodes ago. She's one of our happy campers. She's a cozy mystery writer. Her book, Blue Blue Christmas, her debut novel, was wrapping up as we were interviewing. And she was saying, we're getting ready to launch. And what she has ended up doing is creating an entire Kickstarter, not just for Blue Blue Christmas, but for the entire series of books associated with it. So if you head over to the show notes of this episode, you will get a link to check out Audria's Blue Blue Christmas Kickstarter, all the different ways that you can back her. You can see the cover that I was so excited about during the episode when I was interviewing her. I'm so excited about this. If you love cozy mysteries, if you're an Elvis fan, I think there's going to be something here for all of us. It's really... I'm just really excited for Audria, number one, but I can't wait to get my hands on these books. So check it out in the show notes, the Kickstarter for Audria Martin. And you may already know Audria if you have been following along. She's a part of the team behind The Right Crowd on YouTube, and that's Audria Martin and Amy Strong sharing their reflections on writing craft books. They go book by book. They take each one for a couple of weeks and talk back and forth about their own reflections and invite us to read along. So that's the Audria. So let's go support Audria, one of our Stop Writing Alone buddies, doing her debut novel launch via Kickstarter. I'm so excited. Congratulations, Audria. I cannot wait to see how this all turns out. The second announcement that is a little bit more of a reminder is that Claire Oldham West, who I interviewed a couple of episodes ago, who is the hypnotherapist, her course is starting up very soon. I think the door closes for entries into that course this week. Something is telling me the 13th, which is this Sunday, but I'll have in the show description again the link for signing up. It'll say signing up for her webinar, but you can get all of the information there for the course that's coming. I know that some people from Stop Writing Alone were at the webinar with me when Claire was explaining everything and going through what the course would entail, but I can't say more than I said in the episode where we were together. It's been an amazing experience for me working with Claire. And my husband is about to jump in and do a session with her as well, which I can't wait for. So I'm really excited about everything that Claire's doing. And if anybody is out there thinking about, I don't know if I want to try this or what have you, I would just say go check it out. Follow the link. Claire's got bunches of videos of other people that she's worked with in hypnosis to give you an idea. And she's also really great about doing initial calls with people. So if you have any questions, and you can just have a one-on-one call with her. But all that information is on her website and in her link. So check out the show notes to make sure you get you don't miss out on this opportunity. It's not, I shouldn't say miss out, like it's never going to happen again. I know that Claire's going to do this a couple of times of the year, but this is the first one. And if you were thinking about jumping in at the beginning of the year, this is the time. So check it out. Show notes, Claire Oldham West, hypnotherapy, good stuff. Literally has changed me. I'll end up doing a whole nother episode on it. I'm going to stop right now. Okay, go check it out. And finally, the last stuff that's coming around with Stop Writing Alone, I will talk about after this week's topic, but it's really just that we are getting closer and closer to spring. Happy Campers Club is coming. The full opening launch of the 52 Club is coming. So if you want details for that, just hang on. But of course, links will be in the show notes as well for you to get information on that. If you just want to pause and go check out the links, I don't know. But let's talk about the topic on my mind this week. I don't know where I've been hanging out lately in the virtual world, but I keep in all of my various writing communities that I sort of hop around in, I keep seeing this question of, what tools do you use? Do you use Word? Do you use Scrivener? Do you use all the lists of things that go on? The options that are out there for us as writers of what do we actually use at the end of the day to physically write our words. And so I wanted to just take this moment in this episode because I don't know if I've done this before. I know that I've talked about this in community, but I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast. And that is the simple answer to why I use Scrivener. I use Scrivener as my primary space to write my longer works. I use Google Docs sort of on the fly when I'm doing short stories, flash fiction, or things like that. And that's pretty much it. And I feel like people are running out looking for the answer of what is the quote unquote right thing to use. And what I wanted to say this week is that I don't think there's an answer to that question that is universal, because I think the answer to that question is whatever is right for you, right? So why do I use Scrivener? This I probably have told, but you may not realize that this is the sole reason I use Scrivener. Back in 2011, I think it was 2011, when I first discovered NaNoWriMo, Scrivener offered, like they do every single NaNoWriMo event, a free 30-day trial of the software during the event. And I really was, newbie. I had been using whatever was on my computer at the time. I think I already had a Mac, so I was probably writing in Pages, maybe doing a little bit of writing in Google Docs, definitely writing straight into my blogging platforms, Blogger and WordPress. But like many of these people that are going out and asking, what tools should I be using as a writer? I was feeling like, I'm not really official. I don't have a writer's software. Let me try out this Scrivener. Let me do the free trial. And so I downloaded it something like October 28th. It was like a couple of days before NaNoWriMo. When November 1st came, I just started typing in there, and that's it. That was the first time that I wrote a completed novel, or at least by the end of that, I think I had 75,000 words. Yeah, well, I had 50,000 words in the first 2 weeks, and then I had finished up the novel, what I thought was a finished novel. That's 75K. And in that month of intensive writing, where I was learning how to show up for my writing, learning how to show up for a novel, I was doing it with this brand new tool to me, Scrivener. Had any other software been presented to me at that moment, this podcast, this episode right now would be why I am using fill in the blank. It's not that Scrivener is like the right answer. It's just that that's worked for me because that's how I learned to navigate all of the drafting and revisions and things as I've gone on through the years. So I just wanted to sort of put that out there as a reminder that if you are using something to write with and you feel like it's not quote unquote the right thing because it wasn't designed specifically for writers or what have you. I don't even know what the things are that the little voices in our head say. I just wanted to give you permission to keep going with what you're using. Now, does Scrivener have tools and options that are specifically catering to writers? Absolutely. They have these cool little sections in your file rather than it just being one full file of words going on. And you can use the the cards for each section to have notes. So if you're a plotter, I can see where that could be something that is very enticing, but it's not the only program that does that. So I would venture to say that if you are at the point where you are asking the question of, what software should I be using, I would just, and maybe this is what people are asking and I'm just reading it wrong, I would just ask, what are some of the things that are out there? And then give yourself a trial run with them. And if it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that, you've failed in some way or as a writer. It simply means that it's not the right tool for you. So like I said, I use Google Docs very often. I use Google Docs to craft show notes, show descriptions for the YouTubes, and it started becoming a place for a lot of my flash and short stories. And so I'm running into a little bit of a problem because Google is telling me that I'm running out of space in my cloud, which is hilarious, but that's what happens when you use it for years and years and use it for everything. So you have to just always be on top of what serves you best. How are you going to use it? Make sure that it accommodates your needs. So right now I'm backing up all of my stuff, which I often do back up, but I'm not sure what I've backed up. And like a dope, I've backed up things and then not deleted them. So there's pluses and minuses to all the things. Scrivener is not, I don't have it on any mobile devices. I know some people have an add-on on their iPads or what have you. So when I use Scrivener, I am limited to my laptop, which is how Google Docs became a part of my toolbox, I guess. I do actually occasionally even write in notes on my phone. I mean, I just don't think there's like I said, a one right answer for what tool should I be using to write everything. I've said it time and time again when I do writing prompt parties, any type of live writing, I'm handwriting in notebooks, and then I'll transcribe later whenever I want to do something with one of those stories. But yeah, if you are out there looking for the right thing to use, just give yourself permission to be the one with the right answer for yourself. That's really all I wanted to say about that because I feel like so many people are looking for answers to things that no one can really answer for you. You need to have a sense for yourself. What is going to work? What makes sense to you? What fits your style of creation? There are plenty of tools out there that are distraction free. And maybe all of the stuff that's on the screen on Scrivener is just not going to help you. It's going to slow you down. And most professionals in the publishing industry, and I'm talking outside of the writers, but many writers too, if you talk to editors or agents or what have you, everybody always wants their final form in Word. So they're almost always going to say, just use Word. So yeah. That's it. I use Scrivener because that's where I learned to craft my novel in the first place. And when it came time for me to sit down and do it again, I just wanted to slip back into Scrivener. I've done it time and time again for different short stories, for essays that I've written. It's where I began. It's the same reason why no matter how much different technology comes out around smartphones, I still have an iPhone because the first ever smartphone I ever had was an iPhone, and I'm not really interested in learning a new tech. I just want to be able to do what I do. So that's it. I use Scrivener because that's where I learned to do this, and it works for me. And I don't use all of the bells and whistles, and I haven't needed to thus far. So that is it for that topic for me. But I just saw the question way too many times in the last couple of weeks that I was like, why are we still asking this and not just trying things and using something and being okay with whatever it is that we're using? If you're using something, if you're writing, and you're able to get your words down, save your words, share your words, send them out to a space where, they can then be published, then you have your tool. You have your tool. Now, if you have specific issues or problems arising while using that tool, and maybe something can resolve that, that's a different question entirely. And maybe that's my issue, is that I don't see people asking for a specificity of like, I can't get X, Y, or Z done because my tool is holding me back. Does anybody know anything about that? That's not what I've been seeing. It's just been like, tell me what's the right tool. And I don't think there's an answer for that. So that's what I wanted to say about that. So what about you? What are the tools that you are most comfortable using for your writing? Are you a handwriter? Do you use one of the programs that have been created specifically for writers? Are you going classic with something like Word, or do you use Google Docs, or is it something else entirely? The thing is too, there's always something new coming out, and I worry that when we ask that question about what tool should I use, it's like, well, here's the new thing. And it's like, okay, so I can spend time learning a whole new tool, or I could just keep writing. So be careful that you don't fall into that trap, that you're always looking for the best new thing and learning something else, when in fact you could just be writing. And that's really what we want to be doing. We want to be creating and sharing our stories as frequently as possible, because the world needs them. Get out there and write. Use whatever makes sense to you and have fun. And now to all of our Stop Writing Alone world announcements. So we're in February, as I said at the top of the episode. And for me, since last year, next week has been a really important week for me. Next week is going to be the free week of Happy Campers. Everybody can come to a week of Happy Campers from the week of February 14th through, I didn't look at the end of the week, but Monday through Friday of next week. Because Happy Campers is going to go live in March. However, the last week of February, my family is on vacation. So normally I do the free week right before Happy Campers, so it just rolls in. But this year we're going to do it with a week in between. So we're going to have a free week of Happy Campers. That gives you 2 weeks to sign up if that's something that you're interested in doing. And it'll give you a taste of all the things that happens in Happy Campers Club. So the meetings are going to be live each day, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I will be sending out an email to the entire Stop Writing Alone community. So if you're on the email list, you will get the details and information about this. But I wanted to tell you here first on the podcast that this is coming, and give you a link to information to sign up, to make sure that you get those emails, that you get the link for the Zoom calls, because what's going to happen each day of the week is a live Zoom call. On Monday, we will have a live Zoom call with the community all about our writing goals for the entire week. We're going to set goals on Monday that we're going to accomplish by Friday. Or if you want to extend your week to the weekend, that you'll accomplish by Saturday or Sunday. That is completely up to you. In Happy Campers, typically, because it's a 2-month program, the goals that we set on Monday, we check in on the following Monday. So I usually do incorporate an entire weekend into that. So we're going to have goals and accountability chat on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern live. I will have a goal sheet for everybody to fill out that really just talks about how I like to think about setting goals. What are some of the things that we have to do for our mindset to make sure that we are ready and prepared to create the types of goals that are feasible, that we are making sure that we are constantly celebrating our successes and not only focusing on our failures. yeah, there's just so much to talk about with goals, and it's a really great way to set off the week and start off on Valentine's Day with loving ourselves and loving our writing and stepping forth into this wonderful week. Tuesday will be write-in day, and there will be a live write-in at 6 p.m. 1 hour of just writing sprints, light chat with everybody that shows up, but getting the work done, bringing whatever tool it is that you like to use for your writing to the live call, whatever project it is that you want to work on for the week, and just getting the time to work in community. There are so many writers that find such comfort and motivation from looking up and seeing other people working that we just don't get when we're sitting at home trying to get our writing done on our own. So if that's something that is enticing to you, that's available on Tuesday. Wednesday is a sort of a dual purpose day. I call it the casual chat. It's like the coffee chat happy hour. And it is really just about really reinforcing and building community and getting to know each other. But it's also an opportunity for me as a group leader to check in on everyone's goals, to see how everybody's doing midweek. Because we set our goals on Monday. We had a writing day on Tuesday. You had so much time during the day of Wednesday. Where are you by that evening? How are you doing? And not just how are you doing productivity wise, but how are you doing physically, mentally, emotionally? Like what's happening this week, and how can we as a community serve you and serve each other to make sure that we get those goals accomplished? That's our Wednesday meeting, and that's at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then Thursday, well, here's the thing. Thursday's going to be tricky simply because in the spring, Thursday in Happy Campers is critique season. So what we will be doing every single Thursday for March and April on Thursdays is setting up critique partnerships. So I believe what we will be doing in this free week is talking about the design of that. What does critique look like in Happy Campers? What are the things that people have concerns about when showing up for critique? What are things that people are hoping to gain from being in critique partnerships? All of those things will come up in this Thursday's conversation. But if you are going to sign up for the Happy Campers Club, the information, the actual meetings for the Thursdays will be critique partnerships. They won't just be talking about critique. It will be about getting and receiving, giving and receiving critique to your partner of the week. When we added this aspect to the Happy Campers last year, it was an absolute game changer for so many of the writers. I'm very excited that spring is back and that we're back in critique season, because I've got loads of short stories that I'd love to rotate within the community. And I just think it's just invaluable. It's scary if it's your first time and you're just meeting people for the first time, but that's what this Thursday is all about, talking about how do we lay the groundwork for that? How do we get comfortable with that? And don't forget, if you are coming to Happy Campers, by the time we have our first critique meeting, not only do we have this free week, we have the community space for people to meet and greet on the back end there, but you will have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to sort of start to already get to know each other before you are sort of thrust into the fire of critique. And then Friday is, as always, a writing prompt party. So at 6 p.m. this Friday, we will, I'm saying this Friday, 6 p.m. next Friday, will be our writing prompt party for everybody that shows up for the Happy Campers Club. And that's just, I've talked about them so much, I'm sure you already know, but I'll mention it one more time. That's showing up, a light chat in the beginning, and then I grab a prompt, share it with the community. Everybody then writes on the prompt. We set a timer, usually about 15-20 minutes. And when that timer is up, we then read aloud our stories, that are first draft fiction, the dirty messiness that just came out. But it's always so wonderful and inspiring. I freaking love writing prompt parties. So for the entire week, Monday through Thursday, the meetings are 1 hour. It'll be from 6 p.m. To 7 p.m. Eastern. But to be perfectly honest with you, when we get into the writing prompt party and we get into the reading aspect, depending on the number of people that show up, it usually edges a little bit closer to an hour and a half to 2 hours. But, we'll see how many people are actually arrive. It may just be an hour. We'll see when that comes. But I just wanted to give you that sense ahead of time. What is also going to be happening this week, that means is that the Stop Writing Alone network is going to be open. We're going to have a kind of like a soft opening so that we can have our community conversations in that space during the week and really just get a sense of how to live and breathe in the Stop Writing Alone Mighty Networks, how to get around, how to chat with everybody, and how to make the most of that space, which is ad-free, distraction-free, all about just showing up for our writing. And I'm going to be showing up live in that community all week as well, just to make sure that everybody's sort of enticed to come in the door. But when Happy Campers launches in March, that is where all of the links and events and docs and workbooks and everything will be shared. So it's really a great time to sort of get in there and mess around in there and see how that space works. So that's pretty much it for this week. What's coming. The writing prompt party, of course, I'm going to remind everybody that's interested in the 52 stories in 52 weeks, the 52 Club, that is yet another writing prompt party for you to show up for, because in March, those writing prompt parties are also going to begin. The 52 weeks of writing prompt parties begins in the first week of March. But next week, there is one that is open to everybody. So if you are just looking for another way to be inspired to write another short story, make sure that you show up on Friday. And really for the Happy Campers Club free week, and this is true of Happy Campers in general, you don't have to show up to every single meeting. What you're looking for is goals and accountability, and Monday makes sense for you, and maybe Wednesday you can do that. Maybe you don't need write-ins, right? During Happy Campers itself, it's not just 1 day, 1 hour of write-ins. It's 4 hours of write-ins throughout every single Tuesday. And most of the meetings have multiple hours just to accommodate various schedules. When we go into the signups, once people are signing up for Happy Campers, I communicate with the people that have early bird signed up for Happy Campers to set the actual schedule for March and April going forward. This way, the meetings are at a time that is helpful, that people can show up for. For this next week, the free week, I will be sharing some aspects of the meeting in different spaces so that other people can see, or if you can't make it to that 6 p.m. time slot, you can see. I will share the meetings in the Mighty Networks, and then I will just remind everybody in all of the other spaces like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram about the types of meetings that are going on and where people can go in Mighty Networks to capture them. So that's what's coming up, and signups will be happening next week during the free week, and there will be early bird pricing throughout the entire week. So make sure you tune in next week or show up to one of the meetings, or at least are signed up to the email newsletter so that you can get the updates on what's the early bird pricing this year, and what's the deadline to sign up for that if that's something that you're interested in. Because I'm going to just start early bird pricing and doors opening for signups for Happy Campers, just spring edition only. That's March and April. And then also early bird pricing for the 52 Club, which starts in March and is a year long. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really, really excited. I've been enjoying this beginning of the year where I've been sort of taking some real quiet time and doing loads of self-care, but I miss my peeps. I need to stop writing alone already. So I'm very excited that next week is going to be a full week of face-to-face interactivity with all of my writer friends. So please come on over. This is it. I say it every single time I do a free week. This is your chance for a solid week to stop writing alone in all the ways, to stop writing alone when it comes to thinking about what you want to accomplish, with being productive and actually getting it done, with just talking to writers about their writer life and the things that they're working on, talking about how to make our writing better through critique, and then that really fun stuff at the end of the week of writing prompt party, of really just creating together, sharing together, and just enjoying the love of story. It's everything. It's wonderful. Whatever you can show up for, I can't wait to see you. I'm looking forward to it. 6 p.m. Eastern every single day of the week, starting on February 14th. Love yourself. Love your writing. Let's get those words out into the world, and let's stop writing alone. I'll see you then.